because their economy collapses without the remissions from the H-1B workers. Mexico has a very similar situation going on. They have their own more or less functioning economy, but they also would probably not be nearly as well off as they are now without our remissions. So, like, you got illegals coming in here working, not paying. Maybe they're paying taxes into it if they faked a social security number.
Right.
But if they didn't, they're not paying taxes. They're just getting a raw cut check. They're sending 80% of it home. They're living in, some of them, like I live in like a farming area, right? Some of them in my area, up until 4 or 5 years ago, they had like tent camps set up, and they would basically camp for a summer, work fields, and then send all the money home, and they would keep just enough to work, like to keep buying
Survive.
coffee or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Food. And then they collectively, basically, they're camping on the farmer's unused land, so it's effectively free. But we got movements over here, the Western Farm Workers Association. They say that it's cruel of the farmers not to give them a new house to live in and a brand new bed, and like, what? Who's paying for it?
You know, when you think about once, I've been watching Mad Men, the show, and just some of the things, they say like their weekly salary, and I kind of chuckle, and then I'm like, well, I started looking at like the inflation rates, something I do often, and it's like once the Federal Reserve is bad, and then when they went off the gold standard, shit just went out of control. But something they also started to do when they went off the gold standard was they started to do this shit like giving these other countries resources and money, like building the highways in Mexico, all that type of stuff, all the stuff during the Vietnam War with the South American Contras and stuff. Like we started to really get involved in these other countries where we were loaning them egregious amounts of money with the Federal Reserve and the FDIC and all these other banking industries where it was all basically done on the American taxpayer's dime. And then you'll see like the inflation, like you'll see like $40,000 in 1965 is like $55,000 in 1970, and I'm like, just rampant inflation on the backs of the taxpayer, the American taxpayer, and then they're doing it to all these other countries now, and we've been completely crippled. The rate of inflation hasn't matched the rate of pure actual salary that a person gets. If you were to compare the cost of living and you proportion it out, it's like completely out of whack. And we just prop up these countries, but it's not just propping up these countries too. It's like the globalists will basically put these countries in debt to them. So it's like, well, why can't these companies do something to fix their own? Why can't these countries fix their own country? It's because the globalists have them basically as debt slaves. So at this point, it really comes down to like these. It comes back to the individual. These individuals in their own country have to understand these things. They have to get a hold of their system. And once they keep leaving, can you stop it, you cat? Once they keep leaving their countries to come here and take a part of our wealth or our piece of the pie, and they're like, well, our country sucks. What are we supposed to do? It's
Fix
like
it.
you have to realize why your country sucks, bro. Your country sucks because they're being taken advantage of by the globalists. It all leads back to globalization. This is all a plan. So I don't give them the excuse of incompetence. This is a very carefully crafted plan. And I know that everyone who works in these industries aren't in on the plan, but they don't have to be in on the plan because part of the plan is incompetence.
Yep.
That's why they call them useful idiots. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
willful incompetence. They don't understand what they're doing.
Yep.
They're
And
just
they don't seem
cogs
to
in the
want to.
machine.